Hi, my name is Michael, and welcome to my YouTube channel. The Garden of Eden, a beautiful garden where Adam and Eve were placed at the creation, where they disobeyed and ate the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. They were driven from their paradise. The Guinness Book of World Records estimated that more than 5 billion copies of the Bible have been sold. However, 52 countries have made it illegal to have a Bible. Most people have some knowledge of the Garden of Eden story based on the number of copies sold. Is the Garden of Eden creation story to be taken literally, metaphorically, or symbolically? According to Slate.com, a 24 poll, only 30% of people are certain that the order of creation was a 24-hour day. Also, a Pew Research Center study shows in 2020, an estimated 64% of Americans claim to be Christians, while 90% claim to be 50 years ago. The number has dropped dramatically. Many faith-based believers are left skeptical and indecisive on the order of creation. In Genesis, based on contradictions on the dawning or the beginning. For example, God created heaven and earth, Genesis chapter 1. And then it says in John chapter 1, 6 through 10, Jesus did. And then 1 Corinthians chapter 8 and 6, both did. The first man and woman created simultaneously, according to Genesis 25 through 27. According to Genesis chapter 1, 25 to 27, humans created after animals. Genesis chapter 2, 18 through 19, humans created before the animals. Was humans created before, or was humans created after the animals? They can't be all created simultaneously, or it'll turn into a contradiction. So either humans were created after animals were created, or humans were created before animals were created. It can't be both, otherwise it'd be a contradiction. Plants created before humans, Genesis chapter 1, 11 and 13, or plants created after humans, Genesis chapter 2, 4 through 9. So is plants created before, or is plants created after? It can't be both, otherwise it will be a contradiction. Also, according to Genesis chapter 3, verse 24, in some Bibles, after sending them out, the Lord God stationed mighty cherubims, which are angels. Seraphims are higher than cherubims. Cherubims, according to mythology, are symbolic, which means that they are guardian angels. Seraphims surround themselves around God's throne. They're the closest to God. Cherubims are furthest away based on the hierarchy, according to mythology. So the mighty cherubims were sent to the east of the Garden of Eden, and he placed a flaming sword, the flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. Not only, but also. When I was deployed to Iraq or Babylon, Iraq is actually ancient Babylon. They just changed the name for some reason. Maybe it's a good reason, I don't know. I pulled security on a 15-foot tower in Balad, Iraq, only 40 miles from Baghdad, back in 2004. Balad is a city of 120,000 up the Tigris River from Baghdad, or ancient Babylon. I asked a local Iraqi where the Garden of Eden was located, because I already knew about it way back in 2004. So I told myself, when I get to Iraq or ancient Babylon, I'm going to actually talk to an actually Iraqi, and they're going to know exactly where the Garden of Eden was. Well, they told me I needed to cross 7 hills to find it. Now, it is important to note there is more than 100 military bases near and around the Tigris and Euphrates River geometrically. I had not heard anyone at the time of my deployment in both Turkey, Iraq, as well as Kuwait, speaking about chebriums with flashing swords near the Tigris and Euphrates River. No mention of that? I mean, that's pretty huge. That's a big story, you know? Furthermore, the timeline of the Garden of Eden existence leaves many scientists skeptical. Nobody knows when the beginning of time was. No one knows if there was a beginning of time. Modern scientists in the field of genetics lineage declares that a global population where Adam and Eve's genetics would damage their offspring through inbreeding. Incest can destroy a person physiologically and psychologically. Inbreeding can negatively affect intellectual abilities. It could cause deformity and many other genetic disorders. And additionally, genetic data shows no evidence of 2 people populating 7 billion people. Also, there are too many different kinds of genes. Our mitochondrial and Y chromosome DNA have lived at least 1 billion or trillions of years apart beyond time and space. Equally important, species depends on mixing with several gene pools that results in genetic variations that would guarantee the birth of fit generations, according to experts in the field. Yes, genes and genetics can live up to 1 billion trillions of years. How do I know this? Well, I know it because history shows that there have been, through carbon dating, that there has been a long existence of production in species being reproduced millions and millions times over. But as far as the actual number, no one knows. You can look up in the stars in the sky and you can see as many stars as your eyes can observe and have an intuition that the numbers is huge. You may not know the exact number, but we do know the numbers is insurmountable. So more than that, when similar genes were constantly brought together, mental and physical disabilities would be common throughout the population if Adam and Eve procreated together, because incest destroys genetics. Furthermore, some scientists continues to remain uncertain about the Adam and Eve due to a ghost DNA findings. In West Africa, complicating the story of human origins through ghost DNA, researchers, after examining more than 100 people from Nigeria and Sierra Leone, concluded DNA from an unknown ancestor. From an unknown ancestor, there has been a variation, a connection, a cohesion, some kind of unification between the African DNA and its unknown ancestors. What could that unknown DNA come from? Could Could they be of an ancestral origin? Scientists are baffled, but they're looking in empirically to the research and findings. Moreover, a well-distinguished and noted Harvard scientist, Avi Loeb, speculates that human beings were created by an advanced technological civilization other than the Garden of Eden. The Harvard physicist Avi Loeb also makes an assertion that a higher class of civilization may have conjured up our universe in a laboratory far away. Dr. Avi Loeb uses quantum tunneling as his base for his assumption. The physicist may not be far from the truth. Through satellite imagery, we now know that time travel is not a far-fetched idea. UFOs have been seen on the moon as well as other planets carrying out extraordinary missions. Extraterrestrials or ETs have the ability to astral project, which means the ability to project consciousness outside of the user's body. ETs have the ability to manipulate black holes. In addition, ETs have the power to replicate cells at a superhuman speed, allowing the creation for life-size clones. Moreover, ETs or extraterrestrials can view into the future or between dimensions, according to scientists working closely with extraterrestrials for numbers of years in alien bases through telepathic communication and other kinds of communication. Conclusively, since extraterrestrials operate UFOs through time travel, as shown through high-resolution microsatellite image, it could make the case for a human origin from another advanced civilization settling here on Earth through time travel. It is very possible that the origins of creation may have started from another highly advanced civilization and brought here through time travel. I agree with Dr. Avi Loeb. There is a possible theoretical chance that that could be factual or authenticated. We don't know. It is a conspiracy theory, but it can't be ruled out. Absolutely. We must look further into it for more investigation. Finally, quantum mechanical tunneling in future studies will give us a greater insight. Now we have highly technological advancements in technology. We're learning so much more, especially through satellite imagery and research and empirical data that is presented to us. But human existence will give us greater insight once we continue our studies in that field. The greater insight of human consciousness can be revealed once we look into the data. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel.